Hi guys, welcome to the very first session of a very simple topic called as data analytics. Now, uh, there is a huge 80 marks quotient on the other side, but when it comes to data analytics, this is paper 11B and it is for 20 marks. So this one is going to be a smaller insight compared to the other two papers. Now I deal with the other two part Bs also. Part B as in strategic management, part B as in auditing. So uh, for CMA Inter, I'm dealing three part Bs in the group two. So the first part B in paper 9 is auditing. Paper 10B is strategic management. Now this is 11B. We're doing data analytics part, which is a very small piece, but a very interesting piece because in today's time the relevance to the concept of data analytics is very high. Today we are using so many softwares that are actually doing the context of data analytics, but what exactly is data analytics? Only when we understand that, we can understand what the softwares are actually doing. So even though all these tools are available, even though there are many basic things for which we don't have to think twice today, but still, what is the process? Basically, what exactly goes in here? Because I want all of you to know some basic information about these three words: data, then we have information, and finally we have what is called as knowledge. So, how something that is absolutely contextless, which is absolutely raw in nature, which does not have any specific context, how something like that, which is called as data, then eventually gets transformed to information, and how information, when it is applied for a particular aspect and used in the long term, becomes knowledge. So, this is the first set of things that we are supposed to know here. Now, before I discuss further, I would like to tell you that it's only for 20 marks, so do not uh, take it light and say even if we don't do this, it is okay. That is why I'm telling in the very first session. The 20 marks are pretty easy to score if you do concentrate in the class itself. So you don't have to really work wonders in doing something. It is going to be a very limited number of sessions, though I would not be able to tell you the exact number now because sometimes I want to the break the session according to the topic. So if I commit to particular session numbers and we don't finish that, then it will not be right. That is why I'm not committing session numbers. But again, like I said, enough knowledge that is required to get at least anywhere between 15 to 18 in the exam will be definitely given. And if you are cooperating fully and you do right well, you probably even get all the 20 marks. It totally depends on what you would do after my class. That in the class it's only explained. After that you have to revise, understand, and ensure that okay, what we're doing still makes sense. So it's going to be very simple. First of all, uh, almost all the content is very latest. It is not like they're teaching you something that is just to fill the 20 marks and all that. No, definitely the content inside this is very latest. Of course, some things that don't change forever, like say definition of data. uh, 10-15 years back when I started discussing about this in the enterprise information systems, right? So for the first time when I spoke about anything with respect to data, the definition remains same even today. So definition wise, there won't be a change. In fact, there has been a lot of deliberation to how data is handled. Today, I think one of the biggest issues that is running in the society is the data privacy issues, right? So our objective is to ensure that we listen carefully, each and every topic. See, don't go by time, don't go by length of something, go by only understanding. That is all I can tell you. Because before I proceed, I would just also want to uh, give you a quick insight about what I'm doing here. So basically, I'm a chartered accountant in practice. So alongside practice of chartered accountancy, I also have been doing teaching for about 12 years now. This is my 13th year of teaching. As I record the session, it is the 13th year going on. So I have been doing this ever since I qualified, and so which is also my post qualification experience, you can say. I am a qualified chartered accountant, also a qualified cost accountant. Back then it was called CWA, ICWA, the Institute of Cost and Works Accountant. So I qualified in the year 2011. And in 2012, I became a chartered accountant as well. So ever since that, I've been teaching for both these courses. CMA, I was teaching on and off. CA, I've been continuously teaching, but when it comes to CMA, I've been teaching on and off. And then audit and strategic management were the two subjects that I've been constantly teaching. Also, back then, now it's not there much in the syllabus, but back then there used to be one information systems topic. Now in inter a little bit and final a little bit, I used to deal that also. But now with the latest syllabus, the 2022 syllabus, I'm covering three parts of group 2, that is, as I mentioned in the beginning, papers 9B, 10B, and 11B. So about 110 marks is what I'm taking in the total 400 marks, which means I'm covering roughly around 25-26% of the story. So I hope this will all be a very simple, smooth, and an easy ride for you. So I start the session by wishing you all the very best. That's very little about me for you to know. Also, again, my qualification, so chartered accountant and cost accountant. Alongside that, also I have advanced diploma in management accounting from CIMA UK, where I've done my advanced diploma in management courses because of my liking towards the subject of strategic management and management. So I did that as well. Alongside that, I'm a part qualified company secretary. I didn't finish my company secretary's final, so I'm a part qualified company secretary. So, and again, having studied all this, got nothing to really do with it's all today in terms of qualification, that's all. But other than that, I'd see nothing very special about doing so many things. If you're academically interested in doing things, you can. Otherwise, if you are focused on doing something, if you're doing that, that should be more than enough, right? So on that note, let's get to our index to see what exactly is the coverage of this data analytics. Though it's only for 20 marks, like I said, it does have some good content which is worthwhile in learning in today's time. So first, let me bring you the index here. We have a first chapter that we start with in this particular session, wherein we are going to look at a little introduction into data analytics, wherein we are going to talk about data, information, knowledge, the organization of data, how data is organized or how it is put up, basics about data analytics, the definition of data analytics, steps involved in doing data analytics. See, it is not just enough if you pick up data. You have to cleanse the data, you have to organize the data, then apply the technique, then make an outcome out of that, and then infer the data. So like that, a lot of steps are there. And how each step assumes its own importance, how each step will matter at a later point in time, because if you do something wrong in some space, how this will impact at a later point of time, are all some of the points that we have to see in greater detail. This is then followed by, after the analytics are over, neat and clean presentation is very important. See, today many places we see everything being presented nicely, which is in a very eye catchy manner. When I say eye catchy manner, it is, let's say for example, if you're opening a stock portfolio, so those people who are dealing in stock markets, you quickly can get what I'm talking about. Like, say when you open something like in your demat account, it shows something called as dashboard, right? Even in the bank accounts, all of you must have seen in the bank accounts, what does it show? A quick dashboard. When you say dashboard, what is it? It's basically nothing but showing a lot of information in a more simple and a cleansed manner. Like, say they give you a pie chart, last 5 transactions, a trend line of how your bank balance is reflecting over time. Where some month it was very high, then it was very low. So exactly to depict and show what is the movement, not by way of numbers, but by way of pictures. That is called graphic representation. How does it catch the eye? Okay, that is something very important. So visual and graphical representation, we want to see what that is in the second part. Then as I was just mentioning, data processing, organization, cleaning, and finally validating it, because today only that data that is finally declared to be good, that is finally which is usable, which you can use and infer something out of that, only that data will be useful for decision making. So therefore we have to ensure that the data is validated, and we'll see how that is done. And then comes a very interesting insight, small one but a very interesting one. what are the various types of data analytics that are available. Right, as you go by the name of the subject here, types of data analytics, ratio analysis there, trend analysis is there, like the different type of data analytics are there. And then how do you analyze data, what are the various types, and the last insight are what are the latest in this field, what is the latest in this field, the emerging technologies as we call it as, what accounts to the latest. So these are the points that we have to take care of, and in terms of understanding how it is and what it is, we'll be again, as I told you, we'll be seeing things that frequently are updated. We'll be seeing things where we need to kind of try and understand how this works. So all these are some of the points one has to take into consideration. Okay, so that is what we have here. Other than that, I don't see any difficulty or a trouble in going through this. It's a very limited syllabus, and that is why I thought I should start from explaining there rather than straight away getting into it. Okay, so 7 marks questions are being asked sometimes. Sometimes a 4+3 split can be asked. MCQs are being asked for 2 marks. So of this 20 marks, again, there is no guarantee that, two 7 marks questions and three MCQs of 2 marks each will come all the time. See, 20, that is how it was asked in the past. They have asked two 7 marks questions and then they asked three MCQs of 2 marks each, which means you are in the easy space to score by just knowing three MCQs came from three different topics and two questions came from two different topics, which means from 5 topics, they've asked, the entire 20 marks. Coverage is wide and any question can come from anywhere. And since, like I said, it's a very limited syllabus, if you do all the classes well, I think that itself will take care of you doing the major part. Revision, yes, you have to definitely take care. Towards the end of the syllabus, I will also tell you what patterns you can revise. This material that is in front of you, if you revise that multiple times, that is more than enough. Right? How do we do that? Again, as I said, once we finish the syllabus, I would give you those techniques. So guys, that is a little bit of introduction I wanted you to give about me, about subject, everything. That's the first set of 10 minutes that I would want to spend generally on doing that in the very first session. So on that note, let's very quickly get down onto the first part of our discussion as to what are the basics of data analytics. So let us get to the very first discussion, which is introduction to data analytics. Please come down to the first chapter. As you see, we have some terms to talk about, right? What are the terms that are involved here? What are we talking about in terms of these? First, data, followed by information, knowledge, and data analytics. Purely defining the terms. Let's say we are going to learn the definitions of each of this term. And to start with, we are going to start with a very basic term called as data. Data is raw in nature. First and foremost thing that you always have to understand is the word data. Whenever we're talking about data, you have to understand that it is raw in nature, right? These kind of simple techniques, as I tell, keep pointing them out in the material so that next time when you revise, it'll be easy. Now, since this being a 20-mark subject, I generally don't want a double work done. Being again, see, already the design of the material we have done in such a way that it's in a question answer form and all the topics are covered. Additional point that I tell you during the class we can write here. So there is no need for again preparing a handwritten summary. I mean, or don't adopt to any shortcuts, because when you're expected to write the answer, you're expected to write the answer in full. So therefore, I expect you to be alongside me and know the syllabus thoroughly. Like there are some people, generally I keep seeing in the Telegram groups or someplace circulating for, are there any short notes? So how do I, it is like, you want to study for 1 or 2 hours before the day of the exam from the short notes, brush through something and then go vomit something in the exam. I don't think that is a great approach. So what I'm saying is pick up your material, pick up your pen, start marking things, start underlining, and then after every session is over, if probably see a session lasts for whatever time it is, after that session is over, immediately I don't want you to do, but sometime in the same day when the session is over, or if you're watching this, you've scheduled something in the night, then at least next day. But before watching the next session, take 10 to 15 minutes, revise what happened in the previous session. You don't know how great this technique will work, because as much as I tell, people will be like, okay sir, we know what to do, we will listen to the class, we'll take care of our revisions. Good. But as a friend and well wisher, I can tell you only one thing there. If you follow this technique in the long term, it is not only for my subject, for every subject. Today, if you have done, let's say we have done a 2 hour class, it takes about, for every 1 hour, I would like to revise it in 10 minutes, not more than that, whichever subject it is. It might take sometimes 10 to 15 minutes, that depends on the student to understand the timeline, but I'm saying for every 1 hour it's 10 minutes. So like that, today if you watch the 2 hour or 2.5 hour session, then you should have like say 20 to 30 minutes of revision. But 2 hours of session is over, immediately should I revise? No. You give a gap. So let's say for example in the morning you watched a 2 hour session, maybe sometime during the evening run through that, so that it's like you're doing a session once and then you're revising, that stays with you longer. Believe me on this, you will thank me later after all your exams are over. Okay. Well, I'm doing this only for the last so many years, as I'm telling. I've seen so many students give their feedback, right, in terms of how good it is to do this kind of a cumulative revision. There are so many other things, like if there's a live classroom, we do a lot of live shouting revision, right? There is a different vibe with respect to that. That is also great. Now, but since in today's time the coaching style has changed and we've all gone online, of course it's a great method. I get to reach to people who are not even in my city and they're in multiple places of the country, so that's amazing. But since we can't do a live shouting revision, this is what I expect people to do now: listen to the whole session, make notes, mark whatever you want to do, and then give at least 6 to 8 hours gap, and before you watch the next session. Now today if you're watching, sometimes it so happens that you may watch 2 sessions back to back, but make sure again, if you're watching 2 sessions back to back and it all comes to about 3.5 hours, then ensure that you need to have a 35 or 45 minutes revision later. These are all basics. These are not only applicable for my set of 100 marks, is applicable to all subjects across everywhere. Okay, so if you do that, it will be great. Moving on. Data, like it's raw, information is processed. Okay, these two are the key words here. What is knowledge and what are analytics? We will anyway get to it and see. Okay. Now let's start with the first definition here. Data. What about data? Data is defined as facts or figures. Simply some facts. Today class started. The fact, right? Class starts on the 20th of June, 25th of June, 1st of July, 15th of August, something like that, right? A fact. It is Independence Day on the 15th of August. It's a fact. Okay. Or numbers. India's GDP is so much. So XYZ 2468, as I can see there. So basically, all these are random in nature. They don't have any specific context, right? There, when they don't have, I mean, see, they use this word meaningless text. I say meaning has to be understood. Text simply, if you read, it doesn't have any meaning. Like say, for example, 2468. What meaning do they have? Ah, no, sir, they are all even numbers. You gave a context, that is why they became sensible. Understood? Therefore, data is defined as facts and figures. That's the first and foremost thing that I want you to figure out. And two, it is also information that is stored or used by a computer. So, why specifically they are mentioning the word computer? Because generally, yeah, what do you think? Before computers, data was not stored. It is stored in library. What is there? Data only is there, right? So, but they didn't give it a specific context. But after this, they gave a specific context. And how does this context work? That is by saying that it is used by a computer. So, more to do with what the IT configuration is and how it is. Okay. The terminology wise, data is associated with computers. But if you ask me strictly, sir, can data be in the form nothing to do with computers also? Absolutely, it is still fine. Okay. So that is the story. The term data is often referred to as raw data, right? What is it referred to as? Raw data, which is collection of meaningless text, numbers, and symbols. Basically, raw data, nothing but what, which has no context in place. So you can write down there meaningless text. When they say, it's not literally to be taken as meaningless or useless. You say no context. When you give context, it will become meaningful. Okay, so there is, as of now, what is not there is a context is not there. So I will show you how that can become. Same examples: 2468, Amul, Nestle, ITC, 36, 37, 38, 35, 36. Any data on its own does not confer any meaning because there is no context. Once you give context to a data, So, which is exactly what is being mentioned here. If you give context to the data, it becomes information. Simple. If you give some context to data, it becomes information. Information, what is that? It is also data only. Information is data that has been processed. Are those the two set of words that I told you? Data is raw and information is processed. Understood? Very simple to start with, right? Data is raw while information is processed. So therefore, information is data that has been processed in such a way, now where it was earlier called as meaningless would now become meaningful. It becomes what? Meaningful, processed, and therefore it is meaningful to the person who receives it. To the person who receives it. Most commonly, we take help of computers and softwares. I don't think in today's time anybody is interested in doing manual data processing. It takes such a long time. If anybody asks you, can we not do data processing manually? Of course, we can do. By all these problems that you're solving in costing or financial management, can you not do them on your own without calculator? Of course, you can do, but you all know that it's going to take enormous amount of time. So if you are using a calculator, things becomes very easy. Same way here also. If you are using a context and processing it with the help of computers and software packages, the job is done much faster. Same thing. Like example previously, no context. I want you to see the comparison. 2468 without context are simply numbers. But when we write 2468, it is a multiplication table of 2. So you gave a context 2468 10, or you can even say even numbers. Some context is given, followed by, normally if you read Amul, Nestle, ITC, who are all these? These are all FMCG companies, right? Fast moving consumer goods. But not only that, the connection is they're all listed in the National Stock Exchange, right? I think you know all these Amul, Nestle, ITC, they're all listed companies in the National Stock Exchange. Now context is there. So what are you talking about? Random names? No, you're talking about three listed companies in the FMCG sector. So like that, the more you get the context, the better can be the understanding. Okay. Now 36, 37, 38, 35, 36. Normally, if you look at that, 36, 37, 38 at least has some continuity. Suddenly it became 35, then it became 36. What are all these? If you see it on a random day, all that makes no sense. But if you give a context, these are nothing but the temperature in Kolkata for the last 4 days, right? Last 4 or 5 days, whatever that is, the temperature. I'm more keen on that word. So therefore, now like say here somewhere 40 is written, then you can understand, okay, 40-degree heat was there, now it came to 35 or 36. So that is how things change. Are you getting the logic here? So data and information, two definitions. So what is information, guys? Information is also data only, but the main thing there is context. Okay. Now all I want you to do is, as and when we are through with a couple of topics, or as and when I make a mention, please put me on pause and run through it immediately. That is also one very important thing that you can do, so that it doesn't make things complicated later. Okay, if you want to keep it very simple, that is what you're supposed to do. Just as and when I finish, all you need to do is just quickly put me on pause and go through, and once I'm done, you can easily once you're done with that, you can easily continue the story, right? So that is what you're supposed to do, because see, we have facility, right? It's like if it's a live class, I tell you to revise, I'll give you a break, everybody will be talking or wasting their time. But you guys, you are focused. That is why you subscribe to a course, that is why you're doing it also. So if I've come this far, all I need is that little extra effort that you can take in terms of doing that. Okay, all you need to do is to hit the pause button, run through both the topics, and then continue. So like that, cumulatively we can keep doing it. And again, I can say you do it, I will wait, it's only going to increase the time span and not do anything. So right from this session, use this technique till the last session. I will keep telling. Now you can put me on pause and run through it. Whenever I say that, please do it. If you don't do it, then again, there is nothing that I can do sitting here, right? Chalo, very good. All right, then I hope you have gone through, guys. Let us now move on to the word knowledge. So you now know data and you now know information. What about the word knowledge? Now, knowledge, I think from childhood you have been hearing that this is very knowledgeable. That person is very knowledgeable. You have to have knowledge. This can. read newspaper, it can add up to your knowledge. They will tell you all this knowledge. There is something called wisdom. Okay, again, which is not there in our discussion, but wisdom, which makes you wise. Like when you have lot of knowledge about several things, but you don't know where to use them. Knowledge has a practical applicability. I'll tell you a simple example. Data. You got to know about something, but you are not giving it any context. It's absolutely useless. When it comes to information, you gave it a context. No sense is there, but you don't know what to do with it. So somebody told me some information, but I'm not concerned about it. It doesn't make sense again. Right? So, like that, from those two, one step above all this is the word knowledge. Let's see how that works. Knowledge. When information is used, same thing, data became information, and now this information is used for solving a problem. What is this information used for? Solving a problem. We say it's the use of knowledge. Use of knowledge. By having information about highest temperature of Kolkata for a month, we may try to estimate the sale of air conditioners. Estimate what? The sale of air conditioners. Now that makes sense, right? Otherwise, there is no point in you doing something, right? Sale of air conditioners. So this is the temperature. This is where it peaked, and that is why so many people bought so many air conditioners like that. That is what is data analytics all about. Analyzing how the patterns of data represent something from which what we can make useful. Okay. So if our intention is to analyze the profitability of the listed FMCG companies in India, first information we should have is the name of FMCG companies. So if you have the name of FMCG companies, then you can extract content about them, figure out what those are, and then go do something good about it, right? So that is what knowledge is. For example, say 2468, the table 3 should start from 3. If tables 2 starts from 2, then table 3 should start from 3, and table 4 should start from 4. That is, knowing something is knowledge. Amul, Nestle, ITC, which are three listed companies in the NSE, that is information. These three companies' financial performance should be analyzed to understand the FMCG sector as a whole. Same way, 37, 38, all these are highest temperature of Kolkata. But when each day, depending on how the temperature went up, the sale of ACs may be estimated using this information. Sale of what do you say? ACs may be estimated using this information. So what is knowledge? Data was raw. Information is equal to data plus context. Now, knowledge is equal to information plus application. When you have knowledge, it is not enough. You have to apply that knowledge. So, therefore, the relationship between data, information, and knowledge may be depicted as data becomes information, information ultimately becomes knowledge. I hope everybody has gotten an idea of what we are trying to talk about and what we're trying to do here. If you get this, we'll get to the last definition, which is the name of our subject and which is what we do. And then again, you can put me on hold and run through these two definitions. Now, let's get to that. Data analytics, what is it? It's a study or basically a science. What is it? It is either a study or a science. Data analytics is the science of evaluating unprocessed data sets. That is why they didn't say information analytics, they didn't say knowledge analytics, they said data analytics. Data by self has no context, so such non-contextual data which does not have any sense or which does not have any meaning to it, we are now going to analyze it. All the unprocessed, please underline and highlight the word unprocessed here. You have to understand, when we do data analytics, the content inside that is completely unprocessed. Okay. So data analytics is a science of evaluating unprocessed data sets to draw conclusions about the information they contain. About what? About the information they contain. It helps to identify patterns. It helps to identify patterns in the raw data and extract useful information. Extract useful information from them. Done. The application of data analytics is widespread today. Application of data analytics is widespread today. It is used for making business decisions. What is it used for? Making business decisions in manufacturing and service sector. It is used for making business decisions in manufacturing and even in the service sector. Political decisions, understanding customer interests, all these need what is called as data analytics. The more you do data analytics, even the political parties have started doing data analytics today in a deeper manner, right? I think the 2024 elections is a great example of that, right? Area wise, sector wise, religion wise, caste wise, don't ask me what all people do, right? With data, I mean, today's biggest strength of somebody is the hold that they have on data. The more the hold they have on data, right, the more hold they have on data, the better will be the control. That is what today people believe in, because it is very easy to fool around with others, right? But if I know what the actual facts are, so that is why I tell it so many times to students when I'm taking classes. So many things are put up on social media which are absolutely false and baseless. How do they get that? Random data, that's all, right? Including some of your favorite points like movie collections, right? Then there'll be fan wars, right? My hero collected more, your hero collected, all this is nonsense. See, there is no official note, and many of these are speculative in nature. These kind of points I will discuss later in the syllabus. But yeah, that is the main point. It's very speculative in nature. It does not have an apt, beginning and an apt ending saying that, okay, this is what it is and this is understood, right? Let us now move on to discussing the nature of data. There are some types of data, numeric data, graphic data, and all of that. Let us see that. Now, before I proceed with this topic that is explaining the nature of the data, what I want you to do is just quickly run through all the four quickly. Just put me on pause for a minute there, and you can run through all four definitions of data, information, knowledge, and data analytics, so that we can continue with the next and very important question. Nature of data. Explain about the nature of data and various types of data based on its nature. Either way the question can be asked, but what they're asking is the nature of data. Classifications are there, like I said, numerical data, graphical data, ordinal, and all that. We'll see how that works. Come on, just run through it and then we'll get back to it quickly. Come on. All right, guys, I hope you have gone through that. Let us now move on to the next topic, data classification or nature. Three types of data will be there: numerical data, numbers, descriptive data, and graphic data. Very, very easy. What is it? First one, numerical data, followed by descriptive data, and then graphic data. What you might want to do there is you can as well always make these kind of things in the notes, right? So I would want you to just quickly come back here. We'll put up. Now you know what is data, information, and knowledge. Then I want you to put somewhere the nature of data. Nature of data. There only the book you can make three branches. What are the three nature of data? Nature of data starts by being numeric in nature. Numeric data. Then we have descriptive data. Then we have graphic data. Three categorizations of data. This is what it is. Then we'll be moving on to now figure out what these are in greater detail, coming back here. Over time, the magnitude and availability. Magnitude means over the time, the magnitude means depth in this case, right? And availability of data has exponentially grown over the years. Lot of data is now available on Google, right? Lot of data now available on Google. But again, one of the very important things, I will mention it later when we talk about the characteristic features, but source of data is very important. Now, like say the picture that you're seeing there has been pulled out from a website called moneycontrol.com. Money Control is one of the very trustworthy sources for this kind of information, stock price and all that, right? So therefore, the first kind of data in three groups are there. First one, numeric data. Data is expressed in the form of number. Any data expressed in the form of number is called numerical data. Like I told you guys, today's session is a very, very basic description of things. There is no, what do you say, very detailed, mind bending content and all going forward in the book. Also, you don't see that because I mean, obviously, I'm here to explain you that even though a topic is a little this and that somewhere, we will be able to easily understand. Okay, don't worry on it. So the first thing is numerical data. In finance, a prominent example is the stock price data. Check this out. Stock price data. Now, like say, I think all of you know Reliance is one of the biggest entities in India. So this is a share price of Reliance. So what does all this data indicate, right? 2550.90. If you're talking about this, what does this indicate? This is closing price of today. They gave at close at 3:30 p.m. Then minus 46.95. What is that? Minus 46.95 or this? This is today's fall. Okay, some date can be positive also, but this is today's fall here. Then if they pick up some historical data, like say on November 21st, 17, 18, last three trading days, when did it open? It's called OHLC, open, high, low, close, these four, right? So see this. This is the data that is generally given here. OHLC, it is called open, high, low, close. So all this is presented in numeric, and that is why this is the best example for what can be classified as numeric data. So for the first categorization, I hope here only you could have made that based on the nature of data. We have three branches. I'm doing it in short. First one is numeric. Second one is descriptive. Third one is graphic. Okay. Now let's move on to the second one, which is called as descriptive data. Description. What is well written? What is expressed in writing? I think if you are listening to this after listening to strategic management, then I hope by now you know vision and mission statement, which are written. They are not written in the form of numbers. Vision, mission statements are descriptive ideas of where are you now and where you want to go. Right. So descriptive data is information which may be deciphered. Now, decipher is a word which means to decode normally, right? See, there is a. I want all of you to understand the context in what they gave this. Generally, when you use the word, it may be useful later also. That's why I would want to explain that clearly. Coming here, uh, in the context of what is called encryption. Okay, in the context of what is called encryption, encryption is a process of converting encryption is a process of this is extra knowledge for you guys, right? Learn this because certain words are being used in some context. It is not important just to know what the word is. It's also important to know how that word came. I won't do this kind of derivation for everything, but don't worry. But one or two words I want at at your level you should be knowing that. So this concept is there called encryption, which I believe all of you know because you're using WhatsApp or something like that, where it says messages are end to end encrypted. What is this encrypted? After you send some text that is a normal, what we type is called plain text. This converting plain text into coded form, converting plain text into coded text is called encryption. But this coded text, no, this is called this coded text. Once you convert it into some code or change it, this coded text is called as cipher text. Okay. So this is the process of encryption. Wait, sir, but we didn't get the word that we are looking for. Now, there is a process of cipher text should be converted again back into plain text. First, what happened? First, what they did was they converted plain text into ciphertext. Right now, ciphertext is coming back into plain text, and this process is called as decryption. Right, and this process of converting ciphertext back to plain text is called as deciphering. Okay, which means trying to understand what this complicated ciphertext is and trying to build an idea out of that and then bring it back to plain text so that it matches. Now, what is the idea here? That initially it was in plain text, it got converted into a coded text. So even if a hacker or somebody hacks it in between, that data should not be understandable to them because it's in coded form. But when the intended recipient receives it, they should at least understand. No, so the data has to be brought to original form. This act is called deciphering. Now, in other words, deciphering is breaking down something which is in the nature of ciphertext and bringing back to the understanding of the original. Okay, now this is the story there. What I want all of you to come and do now back again here is information which may be deciphered. So that is what is understood. This time it is not described in numbers, it is deciphered into qualitative information. What is it deciphered into? Qualitative information, which is known as descriptive data. What is it known as? Descriptive data. Like, say, for example, that is why I will write there an example. You can say vision and mission statements. Vision and mission statements of an organization. Vision and mission statements of an organization are descriptive data, right? Leading social and environmental change. They gave one paragraph as an example. At HUL, I think again, you know, HUL, Hindustan Unilever, one of the very popular, like how you saw Reliance for numerical data. At HUL, we've always tried to grow our business while protecting the planet and doing good for the people and blah blah blah. Basically the point is about, they've explained something we believe to generate superior long term value for our stakeholders, right? All these people, we call it multi stakeholder model. Basically your idea was explained, the entire idea is explained in text form. And when it's explained in text form, that is only called as descriptive data. You don't see any numbers in that, right? You don't see any numbers there, right? So that is why vision, mission statements, when not objectives, because objectives again are performance targets which are numbered, right? So I want you to take a closer look at this point. The descriptive data, that is the second one. Vision and mission statements of an organization generally are considered as the example. The above information has been extracted from the annual report of HUL, which is descriptive data provided by Hindustan Unilever. You can see that descriptive data provided by Hindustan Lever, and the user may use this data to make judicious investment decision, right? This is what HUL is up to. Okay, in the near future, this is what they are going to do, like that they can infer out of this. Following up to this is what we have as graphic data. Same thing, shares. Again, generally in the stock markets, the movement of share price over the last few, you know, like it can be days, months, hours, years, anything you can do. A picture or a graphic, right? There is a saying in English, right? Picture speaks 1,000 words. The Chinese proverb, that is, a picture speaks 1,000 words. That means from a picture you can infer so much of understanding. So a picture or a graphic may tell 1,000 stories. Data may also be presented in the form of picture or graphics. For example, we can see the stock price of Infosys. We took Reliance as the previous example. This time we can take in Infosys. May be presented in the following manner. Take a closer look there. Infosys, right? This chart that you see here in the last. This is 1 day chart. Okay, 1 day means it starts. This one starts at 9:15 a.m. and this one closes at, like, you know, 3:30, right? So 9 to 3:30 or 9:15 to 3:30, this was the moment. You can as well, this is for 1 day if you see keenly here, right? Today Infosys price has gone up by 18 rupees. So how was it presented? The movement, morning it was here, morning it came down, then it went up. So this is the day close was at the high. Now it's not necessary that every time it closes like this. Sometimes it so happens that, you know, it could have come down like this, then in the day it would have gone up like this, then suddenly come down. So all these are quite possible. I just want you to understand the fact that, you know, that this is how graphical data represents a movement. Okay, so that's all in this particular topic. Very simple 3 branch classification. I already showed you: numeric data, descriptive data, and graphic data. I would like you guys to take a minute to run through all these three, test your knowledge. Question is there. Whenever these type of questions come, we'd see what the question is. Define the term descriptive data with an example. So you are writing point number 2. Any question, all three are capable of being asked as questions in the exam. So what I would again suggest you to do right now is to quickly go through all these 3 points fast so that we can move on to the next topic. Come on, put me on pause, run through the second question, and then we are back in just about a minute. Come on. All right, guys, I'm hoping that you have taken care of doing that. Otherwise, please put me on pause. The control is with you. You can always put me on pause and continue to do that and then come back. Let us move on to the next aspect for now. The next aspect for now is talking about what are the various kinds of data. Very important question. It can straight come in the exam as a question for anywhere ranging between 4 to 5 marks easily is the two classifications which are very damn simple, quantitative and qualitative. Let's get what are the various kinds of data used in finance and costing. I want you to be very, very clear. I am taking you back to the second question's heading. Here it is talking about the nature of data. For nature, you should not write kinds. Please be very mindful of that. Here, the heading is clearly given. They're asking you kinds of data. Okay, so two kinds of data are there. The kinds of data, if you go to the next page, you will see quantitative as well as qualitative in nature. Quantitative and qualitative are the two kinds of data. Within the data, the nature of data can either be descriptive, graphic, or numeric, right? I want you to be very, very clear with this. Otherwise, you'd end up making some small mistakes. As I just showed you this one here, this is the nature of data. Okay, all of this what we are writing on screen, probably later this notes also I will share with you so that you can have this for reference. Then that is why everything is written in the book, right? So we don't have to break our head. And even if here I'll put up these. So nature I will write in short since it's again written about three branches versus kinds of data are two. What are the two kinds of data? Quantitative and qualitative. Quantitative and qualitative. While in nature, we have three categorizations, right? Numeric, descriptive, and graphic. So here, nature wise, they are three, while kinds wise, they are two. This is what you are supposed to remember from a broader point of view of remembering. Okay, so that is what we have in terms of nature and also in terms of the kinds of data that we are talking about. Nature versus kinds, I want you to remember this carefully so that going forward I don't want you to write one answer for the other. It is clearly visible there. I want all of you to make a note, or anyway, like I said, if you can make a note of the book itself, it is great. Otherwise, you'd have to ensure that you revise this when we later after the topic is over, you revise. Okay, now coming back to the story where the question is, come to the question number 3. Data plays a very important role. Data plays obviously a very important role in the study of finance and costing. From the inception of study of finance, accounting and cost accounting, data has always played an important role. Why do you say that? Because costing has so many numbers, financial management has so many numbers, facts comparisons are also there. It's not just to do with the numbers only all the time, right? So you have to find out what exactly is the story there in terms of understanding only. Again, right, if you are not using it, then there is no point. But what is it, when will we use it, how will we use it, what context will change, all these are some of the important points that we have to take into consideration. Okay, data plays a very important role in the study of finance. It has always played an important role, be it in the form of financial statements, cost statements. I hope all of you have prepared cost sheet. Cost sheet is something which contains all the elements of cost. P&L, balance sheet, cash flow statements. I hope you have again prepared all of those. So be it in the form of financial statements or in the form of cost statements, etc., finance and accounting professionals always use data because it plays a significant role in helping the management make prudent decision. So if you have one of the very important roles of data is it does help in data used in for what? For decision making. So in finance and costing, there are about a lot of decisions to be made. And what exactly are we talking about when it comes to these decisions? If you don't have a proper data, how can you make decisions? Or even if you make decisions with wrong data, it will lead to wrong conclusions. So therefore, it is important not just to have data, it is important to have the correct data also. They will tell you that. See, later when you are acquiring this, it is important for you to figure out from where do you get this. We'll see that also. I'll tell you. That's why I told you, source is one of the most important things. But right now, quantitative data and qualitative data are two. Again, at your level, I don't think I have to break your head by explaining this. Go for it in pretty easy manner. Quantitative financial data. By the term quantitative data, we mean data expressed in the form of numbers. Keeping it very simple. The quantitative data availability in finance is very significant. Example, stock price data. If you are an avid stock market follower, yes, stock prices, you keep focusing on them, it keeps changing. How is it useful? What is it done? All these are something we have to concentrate on. Stock price data. Most of the financial records are maintained in organized numerical data. Quantitative, everybody is using it. Now let's say a little bit more on qualitative financial data. What is qualitative financial data? Text, videos, audio, which are not numbers, they're all in the nature of quantitative. Text, long descriptive text, video, audio, all these are also data only. These type of data are useful for financial analysis. What is it useful for? It is useful for financial analysis. We are going to analyze now. Like say, if you watch a video, what what was the content explained in the video? What is told? How is it told? All the detail has to be explained. Say, for example, the management discussion and analysis discussion and analysis presented as part of the annual report of a company is mostly presented in the form of text. What is it mostly presented in the form of? It is presented in the form of text. And this information is useful for getting an insight. Getting an insight means an understanding. Getting an insight into the performance of business. Similarly, key executives often appear in interview in business channels, right? And you see there CNBC, okay, NDTV Profit, Economic Times. So CNBC or ET, if they're coming on interviews, right? These interaction are often gold mines because they are going to talk there and they will tell us so many things. Like say, for example, if you are looking at a CEO's interview, what is that company doing? What is their future plan? How they will be using the current scenario to make the most profit? Who are their competitors? What these people think about them? So as the interviewer keeps asking so many questions, now like say interviewer asked one question, you are launching, let's say we are talking about a CEO of a car company. So the interviewer asked the question, we are thinking, I mean, like we are hoping that you will launch a car in the next 3 months. So for which the CEO replied that yes, we are planning for a new car launch in the month of August. Now, these people are planning to launch a new car in August. The competitor, when they watch this interview, they will also get to know, correct? So, like that, from text, from nowadays, people put so much on social media. That is information, right? In fact, you can read somebody's state of mind. Now, some people put all these dull, dead statuses. They'll put some great philosophical quotes in the status. It shows their state of mind. Now, today, I'm very excited and happy. So I put all the photos with my friends, and where I went, I take photos of the lunch or dinner or the cakes, whatever it is, and put up on Instagram and show that the happy side of mine. But how many people do that? If you're depressed, today I'm very depressed, today I'm sitting and crying. How many people take photo of I am crying and put? They don't want to portray that. So that is why today and in the recent times I've been alerting everybody. So much of data that is available over the web. Not everything is true. So many people fake it up because today it's in competition. You have to give a vibe for like you're doing a very healthy business or a happy business. So the vibe should speak for itself. All this drama is there, which is also why people put up so much of qualitative data. So the two classifications of data, guys, quantitative data and qualitative data. So have a quick look at that, quantitative and qualitative, so that we can proceed further quickly. I hope you have gone through this, guys. Very simple topics. Now, I want you to understand something pretty important or interesting here. This is something to do with the classification of data. So probably this is something sounding new to some of you till now, because whatever till now we have discussed, maybe in some context or the other you would have seen it here and there, but this one what we are seeing now is slightly, in terms of, I won't call it a very special thing, it's also normal, but classification of data. Now you studied nature of data, right, where 3 points are there, kinds of data, 2 points are there. Now in this classification of data, various ways in which data can be classified. Okay, this classification we have four types. Okay, nominal scale, ordinal scale, interval scale, and ratio scale. Okay, so again, this is four types. Okay, 2, 3, 4. It is easy to remember like that. Okay, 2, 3, and 4. What is easy to remember like that? I will show you 2, 3, 4. What we discussed, we will do a little reorganization of things here, right? So that when I share this, it will be of use to you, right? Two kinds of data. Okay, we'll move this, just a little regrouping exercise we will do. 2, 3, 4. Okay, two kinds of data, quantitative and qualitative. Based on the nature, we have three. Now, based on classification, we will see how data is classified, also 4 points, right? We'll write that also here, so that next time when we are revising, things will be easy. Classification of data. Classification of data, we will put it in 4. Okay, so what are the 4 points that we are talking about in classification of data? First one will be called as interval. First one I think is nominal, then followed by ordinal, interval, ratio. Nominal, let me write that here for you. So first one is nominal, ordinal, interval, in the name only it is there. That means a particular selective gap will be there, interval, and then we have ratio. Okay, nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio based. Understood? So these are the four classification of data, guys. Let us now get into the detail of the story as to what those are and how we will be dealing with them. Here again, very easy points, but you need to know the example for each of these so that you can remember them in the long run. Getting back to the story there, see first one, nominal scale. Nominal scale is being used for categorizing the data. Categorizing the data. Under this particular class, observations are classified based on certain characteristics. Observations are classified on what? Certain characteristics. What is the interesting point here? That these labels may contain numbers but have no numerical value. Classification will have numbers but no numerical value. So what are you talking about? Nominal scale means nominated or a nomination, basically, right? You are nominating it to be something. Like for example, in the stock markets, one of the easiest example to remember this is the stock market example. See, in stock markets, we classify stocks based on market capitalization: large cap, mid cap, small cap. What is this classification? Inside large cap, again, numbers and graphics will be there. Inside small cap, numbers, graphics, companies, everything will be there. But the classification of data is done this time based on what? A nominal scale: small, medium, large. Now, let's say we have companies, right? We have MSMED, micro, small, medium enterprises development act, is, like that. There, how will you classify? This is micro, this is small, this is medium. Same way here. Example, classifying equities into small cap, classifying equities into small cap, mid cap, large cap, or classifying funds into equity, debt, or balanced fund. Balanced fund where is a mix of both. So basically, what you're trying to do here is you're going by nominating it with a name, nominal scale. It might have numbers, no numeric data. Numbers inside the data won't be there. Small cap means what? Above so much level. Mid cap means what? Above so much level. If the market cap exceeds so much, it's called large cap. Like that, you can go for classification based on number. But inside the name, there is no number. Like this is 45, that is 55, not. So nominal scale is basically where you nominate something. Okay, small cap, mid cap, large cap, equity, debt, balanced, MS, micro, small, medium. I can add up one more example there. Micro, small, medium. This is for enterprises. So like that, this is all called the nominal scale. The second categorization is called as ordinal scale. Ordinal scale means an ordination, arrangement, top 50 rich people in a country, top 10 stocks in the stock market, top 10 stocks based on today's gain, top 10 losers of the day. Like that, what we are measuring based on a particular scale, it is called as ordinal scale, is to put it in an order. Ordination, putting it in an order. This word ordination means what? To put it in an order. These numbers just indicate a particular order, right? They do not specify, do not underline the word do not. What do they not? They do not specify how much better or worse a stock is in comparison to other stock. What they do is, for example, top 10 stocks by PE ratio, top 50 rich people in the country, which one is better, how they are rich, A is better than B, all that they will say. So lists generally go by putting an order. What are the order? These are top 10 stocks by PE ratio. Okay, we can give that example also. What they told, top 10 most hottest places in India based on temperature, right? You can add one more example, top 10 hottest places in India by temperature. So when you take temperature as your base, what are the top 10 places in India? Another example like that's a BS. Why should you go only by stock market example? You have so many. You understood that? Ordination, the arrangement, putting in an order. How are these put in order? These are put in order based on the temperature that they recorded. Understood? That is the logic, right? Nominal scale, ordinal scale. Third one is the most simplest and the easiest. What is that? Interval scale. Interval scale is used for ranking. I think all of us are, when I say us, it includes me also. All of us are what? Victims of this word ranking, right from our school. First rank, second rank, third rank, going by ranking. But ranking is one of the very important things in sports, right? Sporting events. Now, there is a track and field event. 8 people are running. Who came first? Who came second? Swimming event is going on. Who came first? Who came second? Depending on which race they are in. Who came first? Who came second? Who came third? What is their timing? So we will have a classification based on an interval, right? Is used for ranking using equal interval scale. Using what? Equal interval scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Normally, right? Equal interval separate neighboring values. First to second, one interval. Second to third, one interval. So the interval separates the neighboring values. Neighboring values means two next to each other, right? Neighboring values are what? Neighboring scale values. Two values next to each other. Two values next to each other. They are called as neighboring values, right? As a result of scales arbitrary 0 point, you can't calculate any ratios. Arbitrary 0 point means there is no starting or end point. 1, 2, 3, 4. It is like that. Say example will clarify this much better. For example, temperature scales, right? Temperature. The temperature is 40 degrees. Temperature today is how much? 40 degrees. Look at that. Is 5 degrees higher than that of 35 degrees? 5 degrees higher than 35. Correct? It was 35. It is now 40. What is 40 now? Earlier it was 35. 35 became 40. The issue is that temperature of 0 degrees does not indicate absence of temperature. Did you understand? If temperature is 0, it is freezing, right? It is a freezing point. Temperature is the best thing. It goes into minus, it goes into plus, right? Because 0 means temperature is not there. No, 0 is a freezing point. 100 is the boiling point. Minus goes into colder things, right? So like that, it is a scale, interval scale. But did you understand logic? 0 is the starting point. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not like that. 0 is a, it's a value. There's zero arbitrary value. Minus also are there, plus also are there, right? So again, like 0 does not indicate that business was not done. 0 means you broke even. Plus or minus, when you get, it will either be a profit or loss. So this kind of things, they are called as interval scale. And one more thing, right? A temperature of 20 degrees, temperature of 20 degrees was there, then temperature became 40. Exactly, heat doubled up. You can't tell that, no? A temperature of 20 degrees is therefore not always twice as hot as the temperature of 10 degrees. Understand the logic? In 10 degrees it sounds cold, right? In 20 degrees it is only warm, it is not hot. But when 20 becomes 40 degrees, right, this one, it might be extremely hot, right? So what do you say? 40 degrees temperature is 4 times, huh? 10 degrees to 40 degrees. This is 4 times colder. Will you say that? No, this is a wrong expression. You can't tell like that. 40 degrees may be extremely hot. Exactly temperature got multiplied by 4 and you will experience it 4 times. No, not practical. Understood? So that is why I don't want to keep it there. I hope all of you understood, because by noting down something like that, which is, unnecessarily would create confusion, right? I hope everybody got this logic. Okay, so this is cold, this is warm, this is extremely hot. This is a classification based on interval. Then the last classification under this is called as ratio scale. What is ratio? The ratio scale possesses all characteristics of three: nominal, ordinal, and interval scales. Nominal, ordinal, and interval scale values. The acquired data can not only be classified and rated on ratio scale, but they have equal intervals. Very, very important point. This is what differentiates 3 and 4. In interval scale, there is arbitrary 0 point. Ratios can't be calculated. That is at 0. Minus also it will go, plus also it will go. It's a scale. It's an interval scale. But ratio scale is not like that. It has equal intervals. A ratio scale has a true 0, meaning the 0 is very significant and 0 is the value, right? Like say, for example, length. 0 is the starting point. How much is the length? 0 means you're not measuring the starting point. Time, mass, money, age, they're all typical examples of ratio scales, right? For data analysis, a ratio scale may be utilized to measure sales, pricing, market share, number of clients, all of that. The genuine 0 value on a ratio scale allows for the magnitude to be described, 0 being considered the starting point of the ratio. That is what is the starting point. How does it go further? Understood? That is the story there about the 4 scales. You, as a matter of fact, in test knowledge, there's the same question: difference between ordinal scale and ratio scale. Ordinal scale we saw here. What is ordinal scale? As you can see it here, it indicates an order, right? And top 10, top 15, top 20. When it comes to ratio scale, they have equal intervals, can not only be classified and rated on a scale, but they also have equal intervals. So this is the clear difference. That's why they told, right, point number 2 and of course point number 4 from the above. So that is just for you to know, but you should know all 4. If they ask you a question like this, you should always be in a position to write. Okay, so that is the very first part of our discussion, because I can continue, because the next one is a 6-point answer. I want to discuss it at length. What are the 6 core steps? What are the 6 core steps to be followed to convert data into user-friendly information? This is potentially worth the 7 marks. This could be, we will, whenever we find questions like this, we'd mark something called long. When you say long, that means this possibly is a 7 marks question, because there are 6 points. It's a full length description of what it is, the 6 points. Okay, so that is what we will do and wrap up this session. But as you know, before 6 points, the points are small but kind of very simple. So before I do that, I would want you to go through all these 4 scales once. Please do that. Once you go through all these 4 scales ranging from nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio, Then I will take you through the last part of this first session, wherein we will discuss the small piece of the 6 steps involved in data processing, and we will wrap up this. Come on, do it fast. All right, I hope you have gone through it, guys. Let us just get to the last part of our discussion for this session, wherein we are going to talk about the 6 core steps to be followed to convert what into what? Convert data into user friendly information. Damn simple, right? Let us start. To make data turn into user friendly information. To make data turn into user friendly. User friendly means something that we can relate to or connect easily. So to make data turn into user-friendly information, it has to go through how many steps? 6 core steps. First of all, you need to have data. It is basically like cooking. First to cook, no, we need ingredients, right? Then only we can do something about it. So this is like that. Huh? What are the ingredients you're talking about? See there, it's called collection of data. First, if you have data, then we can talk about doing something of that, right? The collection of data may be done with standardized systems in place. Collection of data may be done with standardized systems in place. Appropriate software and hardware may be used for this particular purpose. And then after collecting all the data, put the right persons. If they don't know how to handle the data, then again it can turn out to be absolutely useless. So therefore, appointment of trained staff also is an important role to collect the accurate and relevant data. Underline these 2 words. How should data be? Accurate and relevant data. So it is very important to collect accurate and relevant data. So concentrate on what is called as source. The source should be so that it is to be trustworthy. From where you are getting the data, how you are doing it, it has to be trustworthy. Now after collecting data from various sources, there are so many times, there are many times that happen where we don't give proper focus on how the data is. We collected the data, but before doing any kind of processing, it has to be organized. Organized in putting in or arranging in an appropriate manner. Collection, organizing. That is the second word that we are looking for. What is it? Organizing the data. The raw data needs to be organized in an appropriate manner. Organized in an appropriate manner to generate relevant information. The data has to be grouped, arranged in a manner. It has to be grouped or arranged in a manner so that from that you can create useful information. Okay. So gathering the data, what is the first step? Getting the data from where? Collection of data, then organizing the data. Now comes the most crucial step called data processing. What you should do is, before even you do something, all duplicate data, unnecessary data. Sometimes there will be one, now like say for example you're talking about people who are in the age group of 16 to 20. You're talking about them, and then there is some information that you're willing to put only about them, leaving that there is no need for any other information, so you can delete them. You're understanding the logic. What is not required, we would want to delete that. See there, at this step, data needs to be cleaned to remove unnecessary elements. What are these unnecessary elements? Duplicates. Read on their example. Duplicates. Okay. Or like we can even say, what do you say? Unwanted, unnecessary or unwanted, duplicate or unwanted information. Data needs to be, this process is called as data cleansing. How to do data cleansing is very important, because if you don't know what to do in data cleansing and you end up deleting something very useful, that will be another headache. So you have to do this with little care and caution again, right? So if any data is missing or not available, that also needs to be addressed. So if anything is missing, you have to bridge that gap. Okay. The options available for presentation format for the data. Presentation format. The options available for presentation format for the data also need to be decided. How you are going to present? Are you going to present it in tables? Are you going to present it in some other form? If so, how that form will be useful for others to easily understand? All that we have to see there. And then the next point is called integration of data. Integration means bringing together, right? Integration means what? Bringing together of the data. Data integration is a process of combining data, combining the data from various sources into single unified, okay, from one place, bringing everything into one place. That's what is data integration, single unified place. This step includes creation of a master record. Master records are that which don't change very often. There are two types of data, master data and transaction data. A master data is something that doesn't change very often. So how that master data is and what it is, this step includes creation of master record, creation of a master record which contains all the combined information. And data integration eventually enables the analytic tools to produce effective, actionable business intelligence. What is effective, actionable business intelligence? We will also going forward see, because you have to use that, and you have to kind of make sense out of that. How you can interpret data. In data interpretation I will discuss that. Right now, what all did we do? Collect the data, remove duplicates, and organize the data. Then we did data cleansing, right? And now we did data integration. Four words: collection, organizing, data processing, integration, all in one place there. Finally, put it neatly into a form where you can what do you say, report properly and clearly. Data reporting, next stage, which involves translating data into a consumable format. Consumable format means something which is presentable. Now that can be in the form of graphs, that can be in the form of charts, however it is, in the presentable form, to make it accessible by users. To make it accessible by users. For example, for a business firm, they should be able to provide summarized information like revenue, net profit, and all that. Huh? Nowadays, that is what is called, even dashboards. Okay, in the form of dashboards. Just write there and keep. What is this? We will see in greater detail as we go further into the syllabus. Right, in the form of a dashboard. In one shot, you should be able to get a lot of information. The objective is a user who wants to understand the financial position of the company should get relevant and accurate information. Relevant and accurate information. The last step, data utilization, no big deal. At this, I mean, ultimate step, data is being utilized to back corporate activities. Data being utilized to back corporate activities and enhance the operational efficiency and productivity for the growth of business. This makes corporate decision making data driven. Using the data, you can make the decision. Okay, data collection, organizing the data, data processing. Then comes these three steps. What is it? Data integration, data reporting, and data utilization. Okay, so let us make a final point of all these six there, so that we can wrap up this discussion. What have we discussed here? Let me bring it uh, to the final scope of our discussion here. Six core steps in data processing. We're bringing that now. Last point here we'll put up. Six core steps for what? For converting data to information. Okay, how do we do this? We go by step number one, collection of data. Collection of data. Organizing the data. Data processing, followed by data integration or integration of data, however you want to write it. After all the data is integrated in one place, data reporting and data utilization. Okay, so this is what all the six core steps of converting data into information, and the two what sort of information? Information that is user friendly. Okay, so I think with this we have seen everything about what data is in the broader sense. Take a more clearer look at this. So this is what is the story that we have discussed in the last hour or so. 2 kinds of data, 3 nature of data, 4 classification of data, and here 6 core steps involved in data. So that is the whole story down there, guys. So on that note, let me wrap up this particular session here, and please ensure, as I told you, whatever content is being covered in a particular session, by the time you reach out to the next session, ensure that you revise it. I will catch up with you guys in the next session. Thank you.